Rondo. Rondo, one man to beat, swoops back to Allen, pretty pass.
Why is it that a point guard who opponents practically begged to shoot became the most terrifying man on the floor the second the playoffs tipped off? Rajon Rondo didn't have a reliable jumper. He was never the primary scoring option. Hell, he wasn't even the first, second, or third name mentioned when people talked about the Boston Celtics' Big Three. On paper, he was the ultimate liability, but as the lights got brighter and the games got bigger, the ball found its way into Rondo's hands, and the very heartbeat of the Celtics went right along with it. By the end of this breakdown, I guarantee you'll see exactly why those glaring flaws, not in spite of them, but because of them, turned Rondo into a player we will simply never see again. The disrespected fourth.
Shot clock winding down the third. Rondo.
Rewind to the summer of 2007. Boston drops a nuke on the league, pairing Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen with Paul Pierce. Three superstars, three massive, prideful egos, three completely different ways to dominate a basketball game. It was an absolute paradox of power. Rondo was the youngest. He was the least proven. He carried the most obvious, glaring weakness on the floor. Yet, he was the floor general. Rondo was the guy deciding if Pierce got the rock on the wing or the elbow, whether Allen had that extra split second to curl off a screen, and if KG got fed right in the opponent's throat or had to burn energy fighting for position. The fact that the Celtics rushed out to sign veteran Sam Cassell during that championship run tells you everything you need to know. Their trust in Rondo was paper thin.
There's Rondo with the stop!
Critics love to parrot the narrative that Rondo only became great because the Big Three carried him. In my view, that is a brutal half-truth. Yes, Garnett, Pierce, and Allen absolutely masked his mistakes with their sheer brilliance. But in return, I firmly believe Rondo solved Boston's most lethal chemistry equation, figuring out how to let three alpha wolves howl without turning every possession into a civil war for touches. Rondo didn't care about his own shot volume. He was obsessed with mastering the distribution of power. Just look at the 2008 NBA Finals. In Game 2, he dished out 16 assists. By Game 6, the night Boston slaughtered the Lakers to raise the banner, he absolutely shredded their defense with 6 steals. After that game, Phil Jackson himself called the kid the star of the night. Was he a finished product? Far from it. But under the most suffocating pressure imaginable, this disrespected guard proved he wasn't just standing next to legends, he was there to turn them into ruthless machines. Think about it. If Rondo was just a glorified busboy for the Big Three, why did the franchise's life and death control increasingly slip right into his hands? A basketball brain that didn't need a jumper.
Played by Lawson. Lawson got picked off. Rondo behind the back to Davis. What a...
The answer lies entirely in the man's freakish court vision. Modern guards fracture defenses with lethal range. Rondo did it with his eyes, his footwork, and a spine-chilling level of patience. When defenders sagged deep into the paint, daring him to shoot, they were dead certain they were exposing his Achilles heel. The joke was on them. That massive cushion of space, that became Rondo's personal control room. He'd casually stroll into the gap, keeping his defender in a state of sheer panic, just waiting for the microscopic vibrations on the court. Allen slightly dropping his hips to change direction, Garnett pivoting to open an angle, Pierce slithering into a mismatch. Rondo didn't just pass the ball to where his guys were standing, he threw it into the future, right where they were about to be.
Rondo with the fake! Oh!
As I see it, that is the undisputed borderline between a good passer and a sheer tactical mastermind. He could shatter the game's tempo without ever hitting the gas pedal, manipulate a defender out of position with a simple side-eye, or turn a dead-end drive into a wraparound pass that collapsed an entire defensive scheme. And let's not forget his elite rebounding for a guard, which allowed him to choke out opponents in transition and ignite fast breaks before they could even breathe.
Screen from Sullinger. That's blocked away by Seraphin. Oh my goodness!
Now the obvious counter-argument, a point guard who can't shoot from deep puts a hard ceiling on an offense. I won't argue that. It's a razor-sharp point. Rondo's catastrophic outside jumper and wildly inconsistent free throws absolutely strangled spacing at times, letting teams pack the paint and making Boston sweat in clutch moments. He wasn't a genius because he made that weakness disappear. He was special because he turned the way opponents exploited it into a humiliating game of chess. The space they surrendered became his runway to dissect them. A guard helping off Rondo to double KG or Allen instantly triggered a backdoor cut, a lethal handoff, or a devastating pump fake. By the 2011-12 season, Rondo owned the NBA with 11.7 assists per game, and he was leading the league again the following year before a knee injury shut him down. He never erased his flaw. He forced the game to be played in a realm where that flaw simply didn't matter. But that terrifying intellect only truly became monstrous when the regular season ended. The awakening of Playoff Rondo.
An attack looks like they have to start the game. Rondo, oh, what a fake, and he lays it in!
The playoffs have zero tolerance for disorganized, spontaneous basketball. It's a slaughterhouse. Teams play each other repeatedly, dissecting every frame of film, memorizing tendencies, and setting traps night after night. Space is suffocated. The pace crawls. Flaws are put under a microscope. And as we've witnessed time and again, that was exactly the environment where Rondo evolved into his ultimate form. Take the 2009 postseason. With Boston losing Garnett to injury, Rondo stepped into the spotlight, flirting with a walking triple-double, averaging 16.9 points, 9.7 rebounds, and 9.8 assists. In a chaotic triple-overtime Game 6 war against Chicago, he dropped 19 assists without turning the ball over a single time. Boston ultimately fell, but one thing changed forever. Rondo didn't look like the fourth wheel anymore. A year later, facing LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Celtics limped into Game 4 on the brink of disaster after a brutal home blowout. Rondo responded with 29 points, 18 rebounds, and 13 assists. A guard who couldn't shoot systematically dismantled the Cavaliers on every inch of the hardwood, breathing life back into Boston to tie the series before they sent the team with the NBA's best record packing.
Rondo, ball fake, to Poe, again!
Yet, that wasn't even his most extreme playoff manifestation. In 2011, against Miami, Rondo dislocated his left elbow in Game 3. He left the court only to ice-bloodedly return with a virtually dead arm, score 4 points in the fourth quarter, dish out 11 assists, and steal a win for Boston. He wasn't immune to the pain, but in Rondo's mind, agony was never an acceptable excuse. Then came 2012. The Big Three were aging, their margin for error was gone, and Miami was at the terrifying peak of their powers. In Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals, Rondo logged over 53 minutes and dropped a nuke, 44 points, 8 rebounds, and 10 assists. Boston still lost in overtime, but sometimes a tragic defeat is the greatest manifesto of a player's sheer will.
Looking, lobbing for Rondo, he put it in!
No jumper? He gives you 44 points. No overwhelming size? He rips 18 boards right over Cleveland. Not tough enough? He throws his body onto the floor with a useless arm. Cynics love to claim that Playoff Rondo is just an overblown myth, padded by the box score and teammates hitting shots. But as Pierce, Garnett, and Allen slowly lost their youthful speed, Rondo stopped merely serving the system. He became the system. Playoff Rondo wasn't a different person. It was just Rondo finally having enough time to decode the opponent and enough pressure to lock his entire mind onto a single obsessive target. At that point, Nobody was asking if he was a star. The real question was, why did the exact same personality that allowed Rondo to thrive under pressure also make his journey so incredibly complicated? A uniquely Boston genius.
No luck. Rondo behind the back for two.
Rondo was cold, stubborn, and outright refused to bow his head just because the guy across from him held a higher title. He could visualize a play that completely broke a coach's clipboard, bark viciously at teammates if they couldn't read the floor like he did, and often gave off the vibe that regular season games just weren't urgent enough to activate his inner assassin. A popular conclusion is that this abrasive ego is exactly what stopped Rondo from going down as an all-time great. That's true, but again, only half true.
During the last week and a half, look at Mo Pete hit the deck on the crossover.
Through my lens, Rondo was a puzzle piece born specifically for Boston because the Celtics have never demanded that their cornerstones be easy to get along with. The culture of that franchise is forged in extreme defense, high basketball IQ, historic pride, and a swaggering, confrontational spirit. In a lot of other cities, Rondo's stubbornness would be labeled insubordination. In Boston, under the suffocating heat of the playoffs, it transformed into ultimate grit. The exact same fire that ignited conflicts was the fire that dragged him back from injury. The same arrogance that made him hard to coach was what gave him the audacity to command 3 Hall of Famers. The same icy demeanor that made him seem distant kept his pulse steady when the arena was burning down around him. When the Big Three era crumbled, Rondo became the sole tether connecting a rebuilding roster to that 2008 championship DNA. But a brutal torn ACL in January 2013 severed that transition. He returned in January 2014 wearing the captain's patch, only to be shipped off to Dallas in December of that same year, a symbolic, definitive end to an entire era of Celtics basketball.
The deflection will get it back. Rondo takes it away, spins, puts it up, banks it in.
In the end, the circle is complete. Rajon Rondo wasn't special in Boston because he was the most flawless player. He was a legend because he weaponized his teammates' age to dictate the pace, harnessed superstar egos to build an unstoppable power distribution system, turned the very space opponents gave him out of disrespect into his master control board, and used the utter chaos of the playoffs to sharpen his mind to a lethal edge. Opponents backed off Rondo because they saw a broken jump shot. What they accidentally handed him was time to think. And as we've learned the hard way, when Rajon Rondo had time to think, Boston was already a step ahead. How do you think a prime, young Rajon Rondo would survive in today's modern NBA, a league obsessively driven by extreme spacing and a barrage of three-pointers?